is a short video designed to show off some of the features of the new web app created as part of the English Landscapes and Identities project at the University of Oxford, which allows you to search for records of English archaeology from the Bronze Age through to the Domesday Book in a sort of web GIS interface. So the Inglade web app can be found at the URL that you can see on the screen, inglade.arch.ox.ac.uk. So if we just click on that, we can go through and have a look at it. Takes a short while to load normally, but fairly fast, and this is what you'll see when you get there. So first you should see that there's a little pop-up that shows you all the different data sets that our web app is based upon. Obviously we're very grateful to all of the people who shared data with us. It should be borne in mind that this data was gathered over a period of about a year up until some point in 2012. So obviously the state of English archaeology since that time has moved on to some degree, but hopefully it will provide a reasonable overview for the next few years. So if we just get rid of this screen, this is the basic sort of user interface that you're presented with. Obviously this is England, and you can see all of these hexagons on the map. These hexagons show the main Inglade dataset, and there are records for each of these hexagons of the presence, and obviously not a record of, but there's also an implied record of the absence of all different kinds of archaeological sites and types of find across England. So this list on the right shows the different types of site and the different types of find that you can search for. And so basically when you want to do a search within the data set for a particular type of find, you look in this, or monument, you look in this list, you find the number that you're looking for. So if I'm interested in villas, I want the number 04A, so you can either just sort of copy that or type it in yourself. And then to search for that particular thing, I click on this little group filter, I select the time period that I'm interested in, I make sure that stays on contains, I type in or paste the value for villas, and I press apply. And then that filters the hexagons that you could see before down to those hexagons that contain records according to our various data sets for villas. You can search for multiple things at the same time by adding criteria. So if I wanted to look for Roman villas and Iron Age hill forts at the same time, I could. I don't know why I'd want to do that, but you might. And then if you want this selection to stay on the screen, well, after you close this little widget, you have to just go into the settings and tick that box and then go back and close. Right, so all of these hexagons, as I said, contain supposedly villas, and if we zoom in, you can see that they're quite big hexagons at this scale, but as we zoom in they start to get down to smaller hexagons, and if we zoom in again, we have these same smaller hexagons, and as we zoom in again, they sort of reform themselves as 1 kilometre squares, which is the most precise level of data that we provide as part of our data set. So each of these squares then contains a record in one of our data sets for a Roman villa. So that's the basic functionality of the website. There are some other things that you can do which I'll now take you through. For a start, there are various background data sets that you can switch on or off. You click on this little drop down. We have a model of soil types across England. I'll just zoom out again, that'll look a bit prettier. Too far. So that's one thing that you can compare against, and if you click on this other little box here, it will show you the legend or key, however you want to describe it, for all of the different data sets that are currently switched on. So the soil model is there. There's also a model of shallowest geology based on the PGS data. So by shallowest I mean if there's some kind of superficial geology, it takes account of that, and if there isn't, then it will show you the bedrock. So that's another data set that you can compare against. There are a couple of these models that we call affordance models that are supposed to show you how likely it is that you'd be able to recover archaeological material across the country. It's a way of looking at sort of sampling bias in the data set. And there's the level of the model of the former sea level, which is based on Fraser Sturt's work. That is quite a useful thing that's switched on by default. And there's also a set of roads and trackways that are switched on by default. And also our Inglade case study areas, which again are switched on by default, which are these sort of boxed areas. The other thing that you can get to from here is a little sort of about window that tells you all the different functionality of the website, and again lists the data sets that we saw in the pop-up at the start. There are a few other little bits. There's a sort of return to default extent button. There's a button to share links, to print off documents. This brings up the thesaurus that we've still got waiting here. And down here you can switch between extracting coordinates based on decimal degrees or British National Grid. If you have it set to British National Grid, you then have to click to get a coordinate, like so. Okay, so that's the basic functionality of the website. The other thing that it does is where there are existing data sets that exist online, which we sourced, when you zoom down to the 1 kilometre level and click on one particular square, it will show you again all the different types of things that are in that square. This happens the same with the hexagons, but the links don't exist for the hexagons. And then it gives you a little message here which shows that if you click on that and on show related records, you get a little box at the bottom showing a table with the different types of things, and then URLs that you can link through to, which show some of the things, the other existing online records for these things basically. So that one, which is a Roman coin, which is on the PAS, we click on that, shows you, there's no images for that one, so that was a pretty poor choice, but you know, it shows you some more details. And then if we find the Villa record, here it is, Roman 04A, that has an existing record on the Warwickshire HER's website, so we can click through to that and find out a bit more about the villa that we were interested in the first place. So I think it's quite a simple website, but it's hopefully quite useful and allows people to explore English archaeology from the Middle Bronze Age through to the Domesday Book. So, you know, go ahead, have some fun. Thank you for listening.